Welcome to another episode of Merge Extra. Today we have another coworker. We have Huzaifa Obeid Khan. He's the head of events at Sapco Art. And he's also the founder of Pakistan Awaits, which is something we're going to discuss today. Before we start, I'd like it if you can introduce yourself and then if you can tell us a bit about Pakistan Awaits.
Okay. Hey, Liana. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Hello from the second floor.
He works on the second floor. We're down on the first floor.
As you introduced me, my name is Huzaifa. I founded Pakistan Awaits, which is a very interesting initiative. And the funny part is it has to do a lot with Oman, even though it's called Pakistan Awaits.
Okay.
So that's the cool part about it. It's an initiative that started off in 2018. It was merely an idea. And I think it carries a lot of sentimental value as well for me because I was born and raised in Oman. So Oman's always been home. And so for me, connecting two of my main roots, which is Pakistan, and also at the same time, connecting Oman with that was something that I always wanted.
Okay.
And the thing is that the kind of family we have, it's very diverse in terms of we have family members there that have now become Omani or sort of, become citizens.
Okay.
Because they've been here for years and years in the country. So there was a huge Omani and Pakistani culture growing up within the family. Pakistan Awaits was born in Salalah, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And that has to do with me on a trip in Salalah with three of my friends. We were doing a social initiative. The cyclone had hit Salalah during that time.
Okay.
In 2018. I forgot the name of the cyclone, but I think it was...
Oh God. إيش السايكلون اللي كان فيه إعصار في صلالة 2018 FET? Was it FET?
FET was in Muscat.
كان فيه ثاني شيء في صلالة.
There was a cyclone in Salalah.
Okay, so there was a cyclone in Salalah.
Okay. Mikuno.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yes, that's the
So
one.
the cyclone was Mikuno, and I was doing a project with the previous agency I was working with.
Okay.
And we were doing a project for Aquafina where we were going out to homes that were affected by the cyclone and doing a collaboration in terms of getting them clean drinking water.
Okay.
And I had three amazing people with me on that initiative. There was Hayam al-Jabri.
Okay.
There was Fahad al-Abri, and then there was Muhammad al-Busaidi. Fahad is a person that is very renowned as the handstand man. He used to do handstands across a lot of countries in the world. And there was Hayam al-Jabri, who was also a presenter and also used to host shows on the TV as well. And they were also sort of promoting this entire concept of supporting families in Salalah on their platforms during that time. And we had Muhammad al-Busaidi, who's also a very renowned chef. So he was also supporting this entire initiative through his platform during the cyclone, right? So one day it happened is that we're at the hotel and we're sitting and we're having a discussion. And this conversation about traveling comes up, and where I go why don't you guys travel to Pakistan, And they go Huzaifa, Pakistan, it's not safe. It's not. It's just. It's. Unless and until you go with us, then we could consider it, right? So I was like, that sounds like something exciting. Why don't I sort of do something about this? Because I took it as a challenge. Because the thing is that growing up in Oman, I've always loved the culture here.
Okay.
And then the thing was that there was one thing that was very similar to the Pakistani culture and the Omani culture is the hospitality we share. So for me, whenever I would go to Pakistan, I would sort of see a very Omani side in the people there.
Okay.
And when I would come back to Oman, I would see a very Pakistani side. So I was like, wait a minute, there is a connection there, So why are we not able to bring these two people together? And why can't we just, sort of open this country to all these friends of mine? I'm not even thinking on an organizational level or a political level. I'm thinking on more of my friend circle level, where I want them to experience what I experienced when I go back to Pakistan, my second home, because my first home is Oman. So for me, that was something that was a spark, when they said that, if you go with us, we will see it your way,
Okay.
And I went back to home and I spoke to my dad and I said, Baba, I want to take these guys to Pakistan. And he goes like, you've lost your mind. So I go like, Baba, I feel like we can do a lot with this, because at that time Pakistan was going through certain situations, obviously for not the right reasons. I mean, it's always been in the wrong side of the news. It's always been not on the right side of the news, right? So I spoke to him again, and he said, I think you should do it. You should go speak to the embassy of Pakistan and have a discussion with them. Maybe they will suggest something to you and all of that. So I said, okay, fine, I'll do it. I'll go ahead with this. And I remember the moment my dad gave me a yes, I made a WhatsApp group, right? And that WhatsApp group was named Pakistan Awaits. And the people that were in that group was Fahad and Hiam and Muhammad. So I made a group of them and I just named it randomly Pakistan Awaits. And that's how the name was born, right? The next day I sit with myself. I mean, I still remember I went to Costa in Johor Chatti. And I'm like, Huzaifa, I should present like a proposal to the embassy and tell them, like, I want to do this.
Do this as a project?
Do this as a project where I could sort of get some sort of endorsement from them.
Okay.
Because obviously if you get that endorsement, it sort of makes it easy for you to, sort of create something which is official and sort of, like gives it value, right? And then for me, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm not going to just, sort of, because it's two countries involved now. It's the name of Pakistan. It's also the name of Oman at the same time, because these people are my responsibility, and I'm not going to take any risks when it comes to sort of, taking care of the images of these two countries, right? So I sat down and did a proposal. 6 hours. I went in around 12 p.m. I came out, I think, around 6 p.m. from Kaldi. It was Costa then. I came out and then I started, I rang a couple of friends who were connections in the embassy, and then I spoke to a few other friends. Somehow I got in touch with the cultural welfare attaché of the embassy. So her name used to be Mrs. Ramala. She's left now. She was an amazing diplomat, and I reached out to her and said, like, this is the idea. This is what I want to do. And then the next day I got a call from the ambassador's office. That was also an ex-ambassador. He has left, His Excellency Ali Javed, and they said that His Excellency would like to meet you, but he has 15 minutes. So I said, okay, fine. And when I entered the embassy, the Pakistan embassy is very interesting. It's located in MQ, and the moment you enter it, it's like you've entered Pakistan, right? So it's like the side, like where the ambassador and everyone sits. Like it's such a beautiful, like, archway with like a staircase, and it's got like these really nice, chais being served, and like it's a very interesting place. So I went into the office of His Excellency, and I sat there, and I'm like, this is going to be only 15 minutes. This idea is going out the window, because it is what it is. So believe it or not, 15 minutes became 45 minutes.
Okay.
And I walked out of that meeting getting an approval on the project, right?
Okay, to clarify, the exact project is that you'll take people from Oman and show them Pakistan.
So obviously the subtle line on the entire project is basically, yes, showing people Pakistan.
Okay.
But with time, the idea has beautified itself in a lot of different directions, which we can talk about obviously further.
Okay.
But at that moment, what I told His Excellency was, the project is going to basically place Pakistan as a chosen tourist destination with the Omanis, because Omanis love to travel. You will find people going out on weekends to Dubai. You will find people going to Bahrain, Kuwait. I mean, people are constantly traveling, and we need a reason to travel. So why not travel to a country which is just 2 hours away? In fact, Karachi is only 1 hour, 20 minutes away, or 15 minutes away by plane. And there is so much to offer in those cities that, would connect so well with the Omanis. Firstly, the food is halal. Secondly, you've got this really beautiful culture. You have diversity at every 100 kilometers, I would say, in Pakistan. They speak more than 70 languages in the country. It's insane. So why not we show the Omanis that side of Pakistan, right? So that was sort of the subtle highlight I spoke to the ambassador about. And I said, this is what I want to highlight. And, And in that meeting, His Excellency told me something which was very interesting. So he said that they were doing a research recently with the Geotech University, right? And they have discovered that in the Hajar Mountains, they have found artifacts from the Indus Valley civilization, which is in the province of Sindh in Pakistan, which means we're technically related.
Pakistanis and Omanis, yeah.
Yes. So 4,000 years ago, we were actually the same people at some point. I'm not saying specifically, but then there was obviously research says so, you know.
Okay.
So he told me that, and obviously I'm quoting him on this. You can definitely, like, people can research it out. But it was very interesting to, you know, see that sort of direction coming out. And I said, there's the interest in the government, there's the interest in my embassy, and they want to sort of collaborate on this. And from an idea from a WhatsApp group, it came to this, and I exited the embassy. And obviously, in all of this, like, you know, sunshine and roses that I'm telling you about, there's obviously challenges, right? So, me being very naive in the start of the project, right, I thought I would just need somewhere around 600 reals to execute the project, right? This is my head thinking at that time. And I went to the embassy. They arranged really like nice partners that sort of, you know, jumped on board. Pakistani companies that are within Oman that jumped on board, and they said, you know, we want to support you. We love this idea. And I got the money the moment I was in that. So I got sponsored for this, right? So when I got sponsored, and I was like, khalas, I've done it. Okay. The challenges were waiting for me in Pakistan because I had sort of messed up the whole calculation with the thing. But I was very excited, and I ring up Fahad and Hiam, and I go like, hey guys, so it's done. We're going to Pakistan. And they're like, you're joking. I'm like, I sort of did it, so I don't know what to do now. And yeah, it actually, I remember it was the 23rd of July. Yeah, I think it was the 23rd of July, 2018.
Okay.
I remember when the plane landed in Pakistan, I genuinely had tears in my eyes. I was like, I can't believe I've done this. I was shocked. And the fact is that before that, the embassy really helped us with, you know, getting us, like, you know, interviews with media. We had interviews on multiple TV stations here.
To advertise the whole.
Yes, because they wanted to obviously promote. And actually, yes, it was July because it was the Renaissance Day of Oman.
Okay.
And the thing was that what we announced was that we are going to celebrate the Renaissance Day of Oman on the roof of the world. Because in Pakistan, there are certain mountains that are considered the roof of the world. And we wanted to take the message of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to Pakistan and sort of showcase that, you know, it's all about peace and prosperity within these two countries.
Okay.
And so obviously, if you have a diplomatic perspective also attached to it right now. So it was a very interesting project in that way. You know, we got so much support.
So you took them to Pakistan for them to see Pakistan. So it was like a tourism thing for them at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it became more of like also a message from Oman to the Pakistanis.
Okay.
That we are people of peace. We are people of friendship. We are people of togetherness. We're brothers. So when we went to Pakistan, so I can start with that bit if you want. We went to Pakistan and it was Islamabad that we landed in. Islamabad is a very beautiful city. It's also known as one of the most top beautiful capitals in the world, and it's beautifully organized. So we reached Islamabad, and Fahad, and so during the process, so now we were talking about Oman, we also got Bahrain involved.
Okay.
So we had someone from Bahrain also joining us. Her name was Dana Al-Qadi, and for us as a project, for me to like sort of pop it out, it was exciting that two countries were now getting involved on this project.
So to take Omanis and Bahrainis to Pakistan for them to see what Pakistan has to offer.
Yes.
Okay.
So now you had Bahrain and you had Oman. Okay. We were being assisted by the embassy of Pakistan in Oman for both the countries.
Okay.
Just to make things easier for us. And we went there and reached in Islamabad. There was a homestay arranged for these people because we didn't want to go to a hotel. We wanted them to sort of
feel the culture and
experience the people, you know, get to understand the culture. So they went to a Pakistani home. They sort of understood how breakfast is done in Pakistan. How do we actually, you know, dress up for breakfast, or how do we dress up in our homes, or what kind of music we like to listen to, what kind of, cultural etiquette that we follow. And surprisingly, it was very common to the Omani one.
Okay.
So it was interesting. And then after that, we headed to the northern part of Pakistan, which is called the Roof of the World. You have the world's second largest mountain in Pakistan. And we went to the northern side of Pakistan, which is basically they've got the Himalayan mountains, the Hindu Kush range, and we went all the way up to the Chinese border.
Okay.
So Oman's flag was waved with the Pakistani flag at the Chinese border, which is what we did. And we took all these people there and they experienced Hunza Valley. Now, Hunza is a very exciting place. It's got these... by the way, people in Hunza are immune to cancer.
Okay.
Because of the certain kind of, diet they follow, right? And it includes a lot of apricot. And this culture is so beautiful for you to see because it's firstly, they're 99% literate.
Okay, mashallah.
So they're all educated, right? And they have some of the most beautiful landscapes around them. They have the glaciers, they have the mountains, you've got fruit orchids. I remember like Dana, Hiam, and Fahad plucking apricots and then enjoying like apples and then enjoying like gooseberries, and it was a very beautiful experience. And in all of this, we were also experiencing different kinds of culture within the country.
Okay.
So as I said, every 200 kilometers or 100 kilometers, the culture changes.
Uh-huh.
Islamabad is a metropole. It's a metropole, but also at the same time, it's a very, very modern city.
Okay.
So you have all of Pakistan's people sort of struck, because it's the capital, right? So you have the Pathans, you have the Balochis, you have the Punjabis, you have, So we were in Gilgit-Baltistan, and this Gilgit-Baltistan is basically a different province on and all. So the culture was very different. It was very northern, very mountainy, like Jab Valley, but very connected to how the Omani culture is, right?
Okay.
The hospitality. Like I remember we were walking through streets and people were not charging us money because they knew that these people are guests. Like, sir, you don't pay. They will tell
so
me.
Similar to what many guests would face when they come here to Oman. Okay.
Exactly.
Now so that was the tourism project that you took them on.
That was the first.
Now
one.
let's move to the other project. So what came about after that first initial project?
Okay. So we came back from Pakistan, and the idea and the concept was that obviously you have experienced it now.
Okay.
Now I want you to bring that story back to Oman and tell the people about what you experienced, right? So when we took these people to Pakistan, we were also doing a documentary. Okay, at the same time.
Oh, so you were filming it?
We were filming the whole experience, right? So you'll find it on YouTube. It's there. Amateur videos, but still we tried our best.
Okay, I will link the...
You could if you want to, definitely, no problem.
Page.
So we were doing that, and then when we came back, we hosted a screening.
Okay.
And we invited people from the embassy. We invited people from the Omani circle, as much as people we could get, for them to experience the stories of Dana, Hiam, and Fahad.
Okay.
And sort of understand what they saw and what could we learn from each other in terms of culture, in terms of collaboration, in terms of, understanding each other. And that sort of created this excitement within the entire circle, where I remember on the Pakistan Awaits page, I mean, people do have followers, I would say, on their pages, but for me, it was like, the kind of people that were getting to get in touch with us. I was getting brands getting in touch with me.
Okay.
I was getting, telecom companies reaching out to me, like, how can we work with you?
Okay.
I was getting different Omanis from multiple sectors, like, photographers, tour operators. Now, that was also something that, was a beautiful avenue to look into.
Okay.
And I was also getting like, social media influencers and like business owners. Like, we want to do business in Pakistan. We want to connect with people that could help us do this or X or Y or Z. So for me, it was like, wait a minute, Huzaifa, you have just cracked the code here.
Okay.
You need to now work on something which is basically a collaborative tool that connects the people of industry within these two nations.
Okay.
Now, obviously, me individually could not achieve that. I would need that support from, like the government of Pakistan, even involving people from Oman. So it would need that support, right? So I went back again to the ambassador and I said, sir, we have done this. Now I think we need to open applications again for a second version. And we wanted to call it A Journey Through the South. Now, you have seen the north of Pakistan. It's beautiful. The mountains are great, right? But what about the rest of Pakistan? It's diverse, it's big, it's huge.
Okay.
So we came up with the idea, we proposed it to His Excellency, he liked it again, and he said, go ahead and do it. So we had these really nice Pakistani companies again coming on board, but the theme of this one was that you have to apply on our platform and convince us that why should we take you to Pakistan.
Okay.
And that entire process was exciting for me because we had 150 applications in 2 hours.
Okay, convince you in the sense that, for example, is it enough for someone to be like, I just want to see Pakistan? Or is it like, I'm planning to invest in Pakistan or start a business with somebody in Pakistan and bring it back to Oman?
So the way it works is
Okay.
that there's an application form, right?
Uh-huh.
On that application form, you basically will be asked questions. These questions would be, what is your motivation to go to Pakistan? What is that value that you would add to the trip itself?
Okay.
And what would you bring back
From your
in
trip to
terms of
Pakistan.
learning from
Uh-huh.
Pakistan that you can implement in Oman?
Okay.
They all had to write nice answers to convince us to sort of select them. And we were not going on the basis of, how many followers do you have or how many, we didn't want to do that because we really wanted to get the right people.
Okay.
People of impact, not people of influence.
Mhm.
It was basically that. And I call them superheroes in their own aspect because people of impact are people that actually have done something worth the value that you could sort of see in the mission or the vision that they have. So when we got these applications, I was like, wow, this is perfect. Let's just go for it, right? And then I see the applications, and we had like 11 people. We had 3 before, and now we had 11 people. And this diversity of people that we had now was insane because you had Omanis, Canadians, and you had obviously Bahrainis.
Okay.
So you've basically expanded your reach, and you've got all these new countries involved. We even had someone from the UK.
Okay. And when they went this time for the second version, was it just a tourism thing where they got to see the culture and all, or were there other things? Like, for example, were they trying to invest, for example, either in Pakistan or bring it back to Oman or something like that?
So, I mean, there could be 2 answers to this, right? The second one was, yes, very much tourism oriented,
Okay.
but it was more towards the cultural integration of Pakistan.
Okay.
Previously, we were doing a bit more of like a nature,
Like, see the nature of Pakistan.
So it was basically towards attracting tourism companies or tourists to sort of see that part of Pakistan.
Okay.
It's also, by the way, Queen Elizabeth, quote unquote, she's passed away, so I mean, may she rest in peace. But she used to call Pakistan the Switzerland of Asia because we have Swat Valley, which is the Switzerland of Asia, basically.
Okay.
It's that beautiful.
Okay.
So
For the second version, how?
So the second version was not focused towards the north of Pakistan. It
Okay.
was most focused towards the cities.
Again, for like a tourism kind of thing, in a similar way from the first.
For a tourism kind of thing, but also for the element of now understanding the country at more depth, you know? Because, obviously you go to country, like, for example, you go to an XYZ country, right? You go to a country like, okay, the people are nice. Or the country is really beautiful. You're like, okay, the country is beautiful, the people are not nice. So we wanted to sort of achieve, like showing that, okay, our country is not just this, it's all of this.
Okay.
It's experience this. Once you've experienced this, you will understand what you can take back.
Okay.
Like, for example, we took them to Karachi. It's the hub of business. It's the hub of events. It's the hub of concerts. It's the hub of Pakistan's economy, right? So it was something that we wanted to showcase. And at the same time, Omani women love to shop.
Okay.
So we wanted to highlight, like, hey guys, this is a place where you can look into opportunities of shopping, which is only 1 hour, 30 minutes away from Muscat, direct flight. You can find opportunities of business in Karachi. You can also find opportunities of, if you're a musician, for example, from Oman and you want to go to Pakistan and sort of do collaborations with people, this is also a place to do that. Then at the same time, there's so many initiatives that are going on, which could possibly a good connection between the two countries. And at the same time, Karachi is also one of the most popular food destinations in Pakistan. So we were like, why don't we sort of highlight that bit as well? And so you basically land in Karachi, you get to experience the culture in Karachi, how do we eat our food, and what kind of cuisine is Karachi famous for.
Okay.
people get to cook Pakistani food and actually experience that.
Okay.
And then from there you go to a food festival and you
Experience the
sort of
food
the food there. Then from there, the most exciting part of the journey was a train journey. So you take the train from Karachi to Lahore, which is one of the most exciting train journeys that I believe I've taken in my life, because there are multiple stations on the way where you stop and the culture changes after every 100 kilometers. So you go through the Sindh province, you go through southern Punjab province, and you enter Lahore.
Okay.
And Lahore is the most loudest city in Pakistan. It's full of culture, color. It's also known as the fashion capital of Pakistan. So that was something that we wanted to connect with. Great.
Okay.
Fashion, culture, that element. How can we interlink these two nations together in that way as well? So yeah, we experienced like the old Mughal culture there. They had a chance to do that. They were received by these big guys playing drums at the train station when the train arrived with the Omani flag. And then from there we took them to Islamabad.
Okay.
And then they experienced like, the capital of the country once again. And we had like these 11 people in this trip, right? From different backgrounds. So I can name the backgrounds if you want. And then from there we went all the way till the beginning of the Pakistani mountains. So they do get a little bit of appetizer of what mountains are about in Pakistan. We take a lot of pride in that. So it was winter, so they experienced a bit of snow and then back to Muscat. And all of this in 7 days. So it was insane timelines, but they had a lot of fun. Made some amazing friendships.
Okay.
At the same time, the diversity of the people, as I was telling you, was like we had athletes, we had photographers, we had people who are coaches, who are mentors. We had someone who is a bike rider who's done all of Oman on a bike. We had someone who was the first Omani woman to the North Pole. So we had them, and we also had like people who have actually represented Oman in the UN, like the youth.
Okay.
We had Mazoon Al-Zajjali, for example. She has done a lot of work for the youth and sort of represented the country in multiple places. Like she's very famous for her selfie with Putin. But so there's a lot of like diversity in the group we took the second time.
Okay.
So
and this one was more targeted than the first trip. This one is one where when you interview the people, you also ask them, so what can you bring back to Oman from Pakistan?
Yes. What kind of learning could you bring back?
Okay. What did you feel some of them brought back after this trip?
I think when we came back, obviously the interest in Pakistan was not now the same as before, right? It was a lot.
Okay.
And alhamdulillah, it's a blessing in disguise that in Oman we're a very tight-knit community, right?
Okay.
So the word was spreading fast. People wanted to go. We wanted to experience, right? And we intended to do sort of like a grand event where people come and experience and hear the stories of these people. But the reviews that we were getting from them, like in terms of like their messages and that we were getting from the people that we took, there was one statement that I remember. One of the travelers told me that like Pakistan is like fireworks in the mouth. So it's like it's so exciting, it's so diverse and so interesting that
fireworks in the mouth.
Yeah,
nice.
so it connects well with who we are as Omanis.
Okay.
And alhamdulillah, that the entire trip and the entire concept was received so well in the business community as well. That's where we were seeing interest. Please connect us to fashion brands in Pakistan.
So people in Oman wanting to invest in Pakistan.
Yes. Like let's connect us to fashion brands in Pakistan. Connect us to, for example, tourism companies in Pakistan that we could work with. Connect us to food and beverage. Pakistan does produce a lot of food and beverage.
Okay.
Then the sports community, right? Pakistan is the largest producer of footballs in the world. The World Cup football is made in Pakistan.
Okay.
So for them, like, okay, this is interest. Like, we want to connect with this. And now we were not only spreading to Bahrain and Oman, but now we were getting interest from France, Morocco. And we were able to take a lot of people, obviously not through Oman, but they were going through Morocco and like France and other countries as well.
Okay.
So it was growing on the side. Unfortunately, we were hit by COVID.
Okay. And that affected the whole operations?
Technically, yes, it did. Because then we were like stuck in a bubble for like good 2 years, right? Because we didn't do anything about it. However, in that period, we worked on something which is a virtual Pakistan Awaits, where you can experience Pakistan virtually, but then it didn't turn out well. And then moving forward, we also worked on something. Now, in all of this, I'm sure you might be curious, like, Huzaifa, you're doing all of this, but how does this work, like, financially, right? It's not for profit, what we're doing.
Okay.
So whatever money or sponsorships we get, and let's say, for example, there's a profit involved, right? It goes to a child's education in Pakistan.
Okay.
So you're traveling with Pakistan Awaits, you're fully funding someone's education. So that was the subtle purpose of what we were doing as well.
Okay. To help people in Pakistan too.
As well. So
That's
we
amazing.
grow them there, we grow us here, and we work together. So we partnered with a very interesting brand. It's called The Adventures of Chiende. It's called the Wadi tribe. It has a lot of connection with Oman as well. And they are basically focused on social and emotional learning for kids, where they were helping us sort of, donate and support curriculums for these students in Pakistan.
In Pakistan, okay.
Yes. Yeah, so that's basically like sort of the lump sum
of what Pakistan Awaits
about,
is.
Yes.
Okay. I have heard, I've actually experienced this, where I was inspired by you to actually go visit Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was having conversations with people, and I found that there is an idea, which you told me is a false misconception that many people have, where if you fly to Pakistan, it will stop you from going to other countries like the US.
Mm-hmm.
Can you clarify that?
I don't believe that 100%.
Okay.
I have been recently married.
Okay.
And half of my guests were Omani.
Okay.
I have been doing Pakistan Awaits for the past, 2018. So, that's been quite some time.
Okay.
And people have traveled to Pakistan, and they've had US visas, and they've traveled to the US.
So it did not stop them from traveling to the US.
I think this is something that requires a lot more research from the people's end who believe that.
Okay.
And then obviously they can reach out to the Embassy of Pakistan as well if they have any
For the
questions.
clarification.
Yes.
Did you face any of that when you started your project, where people actually came up to you guys with these concerns? That if
They
we
did.
They did.
They did. And the best way for me to tackle it was that I got a lot of support from the embassy back then. They were very, very much,
supportive of the
supportive
project.
in people understanding, how it works and everything. And at the same time, there was also a lot of trust involved, because I'm a person that believes that every person is an ambassador to their own culture and their own country.
Okay.
Right? So for me, the way I carry myself, or the way I communicate, or sort of fit into this society, carries a lot of brand value. So if someone today sees that Huzaifa is a Pakistani and he is like that, then I'm sure the rest are going to be like that too.
Okay. So you represent to people in Oman what Pakistanis are like.
Yes.
Okay. So you take that responsibility.
I proudly say that.
Okay.
Like for me, I am more an Omani and more a Pakistani at the same time. For me, Oman's home.
Okay.
It's been home forever, There are times when, when the Arabic line, like, this is our bilad. This is my bilad. And I've always loved it that way, because when I'm coming back on a flight, there's no other place in the world that gives me the peace that I get here.
Okay.
And Pakistan is a festival for me. When I go to Pakistan, it's like, oh my God, I'm here. Like,
No.
This is the land of fun, Like, it's always been like that excitement, that fireworks in the mouth. And Oman's always been that really beautiful pillow that I've always wanted in life to give me that peace that I need. So it is like that. It is.
Okay. You mentioned, I think before when we were talking about this project before doing it now on air.
Yeah.
You mentioned that some people started tours to Pakistan from here.
Yes.
Okay. You also mentioned something about taking people specifically to go and see the textile industry.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about those two?
Yes. So there is a very interesting collaboration we had with a group called Oman Hikes, who basically wanted to take Omani hikers to Pakistan.
For them to hike there?
Yes.
Okay.
And glamp and camp and, experience
all
Pakistani
that.
mountains. So we worked that project out with them. It was a very interesting project. Unfortunately, at that time, there were certain limitations that we didn't have a full number of people going to that trip. And the limitations were basically obviously based completely on travel issues and like, the timeline and the time frame of the launch of the project.
Okay. Which is like pre-COVID or post-COVID, something like that?
Yeah, in that time frame. So obviously there were still limitations of people, having that confidence in traveling, right?
Okay.
Other than that, we launched a very specific project. It was called Karachi with Madiha. And the purpose of Karachi with Madiha was to allow for the Omani women to expand their shopping sprees or textile shopping sprees to Pakistan, because there's a lot of cultural connect. Omani bridal dresses have a lot of patterns that are in the Pakistani bridal dresses. Omani Baloch culture is very similar to what we have in Pakistan. And there's a lot of exciting stuff that's there, which works very well with the Omani women's tastes.
Okay.
So Karachi with Madiha was launched, a trip completely for women, by the women, where you fly, let's say, for example, on Thursday night to Karachi. You're taken to a hotel, in a 5-star hotel for sure, and then you spend the night there. At breakfast, there's a car receiving you with a team of ladies that will take you to the market. You will experience the market. You will see what you can get. You can place your orders then and there. And then by Saturday night, you're back in Muscat.
Okay.
And this includes a food trip. This includes a whole cultural integration trip as well. A textile trip, so you can also shop from like jewelry to like wedding clothes to like daily wear. In case if you're an abaya or a boutique owner, you could definitely even like sort of, collaborate on those areas where you could, find the vendors that you need for your project or for your brand. Or so those were the kind of conversations we created with that
trip,
that project that we created, the Pakistan Karachi with Madiha.
Okay.
So Karachi with Madiha has had only one episode.
Batch. Okay.
One batch only. But as of now, we haven't done it in a long time. So we want to get back into.
So you are planning to get back to Pakistan or wait? There was just a COVID break that took place.
The COVID break took a little long, I think. I mean, it's caught up a lot in me, but I think I want to go back to doing it again.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so, obviously the intention behind this project, one of them was that you were very connected to Oman while at the same time very connected to Pakistan. You wanted to show people Pakistan. Did you find that there were a lot of ideas that people had about Pakistan that were corrected maybe after visiting the country?
Yes.
Okay, like?
For example, this is a very funny one. So we were on the plane landing in Islamabad. This is our first trip, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I get a message. I mean, I not get a message, but someone tells me within the trip, like, oh my God, you guys have proper roads.
Oh.
So
okay.
So for me, I was like, yeah, we've got roads in Pakistan. And then,
did that offend you? Can I ask?
See, I wouldn't judge people on the basis of that.
Okay.
It does hurt. I mean, to be honest, to be frank, it does hurt you. But then at the same time, it's also about, you can't judge them for that because they don't have...
they see on the news, maybe.
Yes.
What's
and
portrayed.
I think the bias has to change. The bias has to change about everyone and everything, in terms of and this is, I think, to do with where we live here, right? So you have to sort of shape-shift the narrative,
Okay.
Not shell people into certain, categories.
Okay.
If they're from there, they're like that. If they're from there, they're from like that. So it has to change. And I think one step at a time, you could, with your efforts and with your initiatives like these. I mean, I tell everyone, do an awaits for your country to showcase.
Okay, so you want other people to
100%.
Start projects like this and showcase their own countries.
100%. They should do that. And I think it really helps, getting the perspective of someone that lives within amongst you. I mean, a Pakistani from Pakistan cannot tell you how good Pakistan is, right?
Okay, because he's there. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so there were conceptions that you feel were changed after you taking certain...
Yes.
Not only Omanis, you mentioned Canadians, Brits, Bahrainis. Was there any conceptions that may have been changed in the Pakistanis, towards Omanis, for example?
Yes.
Okay. Like?
So this is also hilarious. So when we were coming to Pakistan, and when we were going to these villages and we were going to these cities, and we were meeting with people, so there's always been a perspective about Arabs, right?
Okay.
They've got a lot of money. They've got, oil wells and
Their backyard.
Yeah. So it was like pretty much like that. But then it suddenly changed because they were like, wait a minute, they're
Normal
like us.
people.
They're like us because there's so much similarity in culture. Like like when you enter a room, for example, in Oman, the guy would be like, Yamin, you go first, right? In Pakistan, it's the same. Aap pehle jain, go ahead. So it's a lot of things which are very connected,
Between the two cultures.
Yes. And like, I'm sure if I visit your house, and if you're there or your mom's there or anyone's there, which is an elder, I'm sure they will not let me leave without eating food.
No, not in an Omani household.
Yes.
Or I assume either in a Pakistani household.
They will block your way.
Of
and they will
course.
take offense that you did not eat at our place. How dare you?
So that's a similarity
that
between
is a
the
similarity.
two cultures.
And I think the Pakistanis love that bit of the Omanis. They see themselves in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I love about this project and what interested me when I first spoke to you about this is the fact that there may have been a lack of understanding, or two cultures may not have seen how similar they are, because we do tend to focus on the differences many times. But with your project, I think you allowed many people to focus on their similarities instead, and you brought people closer together with such a project.
Yes.
Okay, and then I was also interested in the fact that you allowed business between the two countries with a project like this. I mean, for example, for me, I might not have considered doing business with someone in Pakistan. I might have thought more locally, but then you made people think outside the box and
Yes.
to think of doing business there, or vice versa, even for maybe Pakistan to do business with Oman, which is, I think, becomes an even larger project than I think what you started.
Yes.
What are the future plans for Pakistan Obeid, since you are now thinking of starting it up again? What are your plans for that?
I think I want to do a lot more to do with the obviously I would say that there's obviously this trade bit, there is this investment bit,
Okay.
which is obviously for a lot of other people to think. That's not for me to think, right? There are a lot of Pakistanis doing a lot of hard work in that space. But for me, it would be more to do with connecting the cultures together, and how could we do that in a way where we sort of keep that conversation going about Pakistan.
Okay.
Because we're not a company. We are not a shop or a mall or a forum that connects investment in Pakistan. Or we're not an exhibition. We're an initiative. So we need to keep that energy alive, where we sort of keep talking and having those conversations about how can we connect these two nations together. And just to give you this is not a brag, then again, because of this project, the ex-foreign minister of Pakistan, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, when he visited Oman, he awarded Pakistan Obeid's as an initiative of bilateral friendship between Oman and Pakistan.
That's amazing.
So I would like to keep it that way.
Okay.
I would like to keep on taking more people to Pakistan. I would want more companies to come on board and support us to do it. Because this is not a sales pitch then again. It's more about how can we bridge each other.
Okay.
Today I work with you. Tomorrow I'll be somewhere else and you might be somewhere else. But then again, that impact that you will have about Pakistan for life now has changed. The impact that you give me about Oman has changed for life, right? And that's the message that we need to carry within ourselves and for people that come after us, right? So that's the change that we thrive to achieve with Pakistan Obeid. I am going to be opening trips, inshallah, starting next year,
Okay.
24, which is only
A few days away.
Few
When
days
when someone
away.
says next year, it sounds it's like 10 days away
Yeah.
at max. Okay.
So we are definitely going to work on some exciting projects next year. We will also open opportunities for Omanis to even get a chance to teach in certain schools in Pakistan.
Okay.
For obviously 15-20 days, or depending on how much time allows us. We're also working on something known as Experience Pakhtunkhwa,
Which is?
The northernmost province of Pakistan,
Okay.
which has always been where I come from.
Ah, okay.
Very similar to the Omanis in terms of hospitality and the food. That is basically about giving business leaders an opportunity to visit Pakistan as a group
Okay.
and experiencing how life is in a certain amount of budget, in a certain amount of means that you have in your life, right? So it's basically a project based on that. So it's more towards a corporate team building kind of thing that we want to open for business owners, intellects, anyone that would want to go.
Okay.
And obviously we will be having mentors and all of those people involved from Pakistan within that trip as well. Then we are working on something again next year on the lines of Bachon Ka Naya Pakistan, which is the children's new Pakistan.
The children are?
The children's new Pakistan. So
Okay.
we call it Bachon Ka Naya Pakistan in Urdu. It's a hashtag that we run with our partner brand, The Adventures of G&A.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to happen as well within the next year, where we're looking at, sort of working on something on a more school-based project with Pakistani schools and making sure that we take Omanis to sort of, integrate culture and, connect with those children.
Okay.
And other than that, the women trips are on my radar constantly because we want to get back to it. There's a lot of opportunity in Oman as well in terms of how to, connect these two. Because I'm seeing a huge rise in culture of exhibitions in Oman.
Okay.
Where home businesses are doing a lot of exhibitions, promoting their products. And I would want those Omani products to be promoted in Pakistan as well.
Okay.
So if there's some way that I could possibly work that out, I'm still working on that. Let's see how that goes. So that's something I want to do. And yeah, 2024 looks really exciting. For
Pakistan awaits. Okay, so these are very exciting and interesting projects. Inshallah, we'll put the link for Pakistan awaits or the Instagram handle for people to go and follow, because we should. I mean, I personally find this very inspiring. I thank you for coming on and sharing all this, because you've taken on a project that not only introduced Omanis to the Pakistani culture, or actually more than just Omanis or people to the Pakistani culture, but you've also introduced the Pakistanis as well to different cultures like Oman. You've connected people in such a big way. And it goes beyond just showing them that their cultures are similar. You've actually put ties that would last a long time. So I do think this is a project that is worth watching and waiting for what's to come next.
Yes.
So inshallah, we will put the Instagram handle.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you for joining us. This was a very interesting conversation. And inshallah, we will probably have you back as
I would just like to add something in the end.
Go ahead.
This is something that I think it's for everyone.
Okay.
And especially young people. Believe in your ideas.
That's a very big theme.
Believe in your ideas and trust me. The world will work in ways you will not even imagine.
Okay.
And subhanallah, Allah's always been with me in whatever I do. But I could not imagine to the scale what we reach with Pakistan Awaits. And I'm 100% sure that if there's any Omani young entrepreneur out there who's trying to, think, could I do this or could I not do that? Do it, man. Just go for it. And I'm sure you'll achieve it. Because your energy should be right.
True. And you started with an idea that went all the way up to getting a meeting with the Pakistani ambassador and then getting sponsored by big companies. I'm sure you might have not thought it would go to a scale this big, but because you believed in your idea and you kept going, this is what happened. Yes. Okay, that's a very, very nice message. I think it's a powerful message. And again, I thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Thank you very much, Huzaifa.
Bye-bye.